Aleksey Kaznacheyev.
Hi, Mark.
Mentor, media manager, father, husband from Sacramento also. Tell me about yourself, Adosha.
I'm not big on small talk, so let's just get down to business.
It's like the way I hear it. Adosh, how do you think traditional Hollywood is dying? Or is it just evolving?
I think, well, that's just from my observation. I don't know all the inner workings. I don't work in Hollywood, but from what I've seen is that I think Hollywood is just too overrun by executives, and there's there's not much soul left in it. From the movies that I've seen coming out versus some of the independent movies, they're leaps and bounds better, even with like a fraction of the budget that Hollywood has. So I think that's a big problem, is that everyone's trying to, in Hollywood at least, everyone's trying to cater to the executives versus the audience, the people. Everyone is trying to push some kind of an agenda, some kind of a, you know, hitting meaning behind things, and whoever pays more gets the final say in things, which, and it's destroying creativity, it's destroying the soul of cinematography and films in general.
Have you seen the show The Studio on Apple TV?
Studio?
I think it's called The Studio. It's on Apple TV.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it's about Hollywood executives. It follows an executive kind of. Seth Rogen is the main character.
I think I heard of it, yeah.
It's a pretty good show. I think it plays pretty well to realism because it's shot in Hollywood, kind of follows around a bunch of actors, real life actors, and it kind of plays that part too. It's like, oh, we need to add this thing in there, or it's like, oh, it's like this, and then the executive is, everybody's like sucked up to the executive,
Yeah.
so they can get paid more, or like go on the private jet, or the next film. So I think that's really ruined the kind of, as you could say, charm of Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just the money and just the need to be more famous and the want to be more famous. So you could always suck up to the person who can do that for you.
Yeah.
Is
And
exactly.
that's why, like, you see nowadays, new shows and movies are popping up that, like I said, they're leaps and bounds better. And the reason for that is, like, you look at the initial stages, they're pretty much all crowdfunded, or they're a small independent film that's got, sponsorship deals and things like that, or won some kind of grants. And they don't have to answer to the few, the elite who
Yeah.
control the narrative. They answer to their own creativity, their convictions, what they believe, and that's why you see, shows like The Chosen and things that Angel Studios are popping off with. Like, it's great films. I wouldn't say it's any worse or lower production quality than some of the top budget films in Hollywood. I definitely think if Hollywood wants to revive itself, it's not a matter of it's not a matter of that a lot of people are now trying to outsource things to different countries. I know, like, Trump tried to do stuff with tariffs to bring back filmmaking back to the U.S. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I literally just think it's the fact that the soul is gone from Hollywood. And people are trying to artificially bring it back, but unless they actually get to the root of the problem and they stop letting executives dictate everything, and they stop letting people with big money try to dictate everything, it's not coming back.
Not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Do you think managing creatives is harder than managing in other industries?
Definitely yes, but I don't want it to sound. I kind of used this excuse before because I found myself being under. As a creative myself, I found myself being under certain leadership. Then I became a leader, and I was leading a team of creatives. And now I'm in a place again where I have a business on the side, but I'm also working a 9 to 5. That's a creative job, but I have my superiors over me. And what I realized back in the day when I was first kind of starting out as a creative, I kind of used this as a cop-out that, a leader came over me and they're trying to do things. And I'm using this as an excuse of like, oh, they just don't know how to manage creatives, because managing creatives is so much harder. That, like, they think I'm some kind of factory worker, or I'm just a regular standard technical job or whatever. Like it's so much more. There's so much more soul to it, and so I kind of started to abuse that, or actually use them more as an excuse, rather than seeing that there's benefits to be managed like you would someone in a regular technical or admin position, or like even a factory worker, because it teaches you discipline. Because regardless how creative you can be, you need discipline. Otherwise, your creativity you're not going to achieve anything with your creativity. There needs to be certain standards. There needs to be certain parameters. And the whole creativity is where you actually start to thrive, is when you have these standards and you have these parameters and you try to make the best out of them and work within these boundaries to create something unique, something new, something that will be a gift to this world and to your clients and things like that.
You've managed creative teams. You still manage. How long have you done that for?
It was kind of back and forth. I think I started being under leadership as a creative. I started working in 2015, and I learned a lot by just being a creative, not having to lead people, not having to manage. When I became a leader, I became I would say around 2020, 2021, I started more stepping into leadership roles. And then 2022 is when I fully took on a team of creatives. And that was also for a season. I realized that the things that I thought I knew as a creative, like I said, it was more like a cop out. It was more like when I was a creative, I thought I didn't have enough freedom to express my creativity. And that's what I attributed a lot, my burnouts to a lot. I attributed not willing to create or not having the right disciplines. I thought that, I was put in these boxes, in these boundaries, in these constraints, and I have to show up to work on time, and I have to, stick to a certain time frame and deadlines, and I have to do things a certain way. I have to stick to certain fonts, and and all of these things are like, to me, I saw them as boundaries that limited my creativity. When I started leading a creative team, I realized that these boundaries actually helped, because at the end of the day, it's when you're in a team, you have to be a team player. It's not, you're not the center of the universe. Your creativity is not all about you. Even if you like something so much, it might not aid to the vision of why you're creating. It might not aid to the vision of the company, organization you're trying to lead. And that's why you see how important it is to work within boundaries, for people to still be disciplined, to have a good work ethic, because there's a lot of times I notice that I'm not motivated to create, but because there's deadlines, because there's things I need to achieve to a certain time, because I need to bend to certain rules, I end up creating kind of against my will, and this turns on like almost like a second breath in me. And I ended up creating something I never thought I would create otherwise.
What was that thing?
It could be something as simple as like a reel. It could be an ad campaign. It could be, I was just bringing an example because there was just so many things I've created throughout the years. But a documentary, for instance, like I worked on it was like a documentary short for the Flame of Fire, for the ministry where I worked in, and I was obviously constrained with time. And this is a kind of project that I had in my head to create probably from the very first trips I started traveling with the ministry, to mission trips to Ethiopia. And because I did not have an actual guideline set and boundary set and deadline set, it was like I was trying to shoot something here, trying to shoot something there, and nothing ever came out of it. And then when my leader, the person who gave me this project, he said, "This is what I need you to do," and you have these kind of parameters, but you also have freedom to be creative. Just as long as you stick to this. Now I am actually, okay, I have this deadline. I have these resources. I have, this is what I can pull from. This is what I can use. And now that I have all this, I can actually start putting this together and get creative while doing it. And and this eventually turned out to the fact that I actually produced this documentary that's been years in the making, you know, and I sat down and I made it all happen within a matter of month, basically. Something that, like I said, it would take me months and months of, you know, I thought I needed months of planning and shooting, and whereas person just came to me with this project and I got it done because I had those guidelines and those boundaries.
Well, being a leader and also being led, what's the biggest mistake leaders make with creative teams?
There is a mistake in limiting your creatives too much. There's a mistake in limiting them too little, and there's a mistake of limiting them too much. I know for myself that when I don't have the ability to create something that I see, whereas like I create, like let's say I'm given a project, right, to create a social media reel, and they give me a description, like my client or my, you know, superior gives me a description. This is what I need you to do, and they say the words "be creative." And I start creating, and I put in, you know, my heart and soul into this. I use my skill set, my previous experience. You know, I make something that I think looks really good. And then, you know, superior can come in and be like, I don't like it. This is not at all what we talked about. This is not the vision. And they start giving you exact guidelines of what they want you to do. And at that point, it's something flips. And I don't even want to like defend this project anymore. I want to defend my creativity. I'm in this mode of like, okay, I'll do exactly as you say. And that's what's kind of stifles creativity, and in a way also causes burnout, where you're just an executive. You just execute this project.
With all your skills and all your talent, let's bring it to gear. What is one underrated piece of gear most filmmakers should own? The one thing.
I don't know if it's like one thing, but definitely little things. Like, I know like lenses are important, but I wouldn't say they're underrated, because everyone knows the importance of lenses. Well, at least everyone in the filmmaking industry. But it's always like we show up, like for instance, The Finding. We did the conference, or KD, or we show up to a commercial shoot or whatever. We always have the big things figured out. You know, we know which camera we're shooting on, which lenses to go with, the tripods, you know, the C-stands, the lights and stuff like that. But it's always like, wow, I'm missing my little micro HDMI cable, or I'm missing a little C clamp that I need to attach a flag to, or I'm missing even like a piece of gaff tape just to tape something really quick. Like, these are the little things that always like end up taking you so much more time than it needs to, just because you don't have it. Because then you're trying to jerry rig, you're trying to figure out ways around it. Whereas if you just have that like PNC coupler or whatever, that little thing that people don't pay attention to, like a bidirectional converter, you know, you're like, you got everything figured out, you have all the cables, but then how do you convert from HDMI to SDI quickly? Like, you already used up your converter here, you used it here, now you need one more converter and you don't have it. And now you have to figure out ways around it. And that's why I think a lot more time is taken than needs to be. Like, even we did the quick setup for this podcast. If we just had like certain little things, we would be able to make it so much faster and so much better.
Yeah.
So everything clings on little things.
Well, you're talking about this recording it is shot anamorphic on all three lenses. What has been your most favorite lens as of late?
Not one lens, but definitely, well, okay, focal length. Yeah, a set of lenses, definitely the Blazars. I think these guys literally outdid themselves when it comes to providing consumers and prosumers with professional, rich character looking anamorphic lenses that are honestly, so far I've seen, they're only achievable with high-end like Atlas lenses and Zeiss, like the high quality like Coke anamorphics. Like, obviously, you know, we're talking tens of thousands of dollar lenses, versus these are only about $800 to $900 a pop. But the amount of value they pack into these things is like, I don't think there's any other anamorphic on this market that's comparable.
I agree with you a lot on that one. What would you say is your favorite focal length that you've been using?
Spherical or anamorphic?
Anamorphic on the Blizzards, the ones that you
Anamorphic, 45.
the 45 you like is
Yeah,
nice.
I'm realizing. So that's one thing about me is I started off always preferring the telephoto lenses and telephoto focal lengths to the point where I found it comfortable to just like stand in any place and I could like 70-200 and I could just shoot far and always get like that perfect close up that I need.
Yeah.
To now where I find myself preferring to shoot wide and come up to the person, get close to the action. Like that's what it feels more authentic to me, to actually like be in the action, come up closer if need be. And if when I don't need, like if I just need a wide shot, just stand further away rather than just be a sniper and camp out with a telephoto lens. And
So use your legs.
Use
your legs.
Yeah. Move around more. Work for your shots.
Work for them. Let's get a little bit intimate here. What's the hardest lesson you've learned in business and being a creative so far?
I think for me personally is for a creative to learn how to be also a salesman. And like know your worth is one thing, but like know how to price yourself right. Because I'm always used to, I guess when you're doing some kind of a specialized job, you work at a factory or you work at, I don't know, in electrical or something, approximately, rates in that industry. And, this project is going to take this many resources, this much time. I'm going to charge this much, or an hourly rate, for instance. When it comes to creative stuff, it's a lot harder to price. And I know like different creatives, they suggest different things. DP suggests having a day rate.
Yeah.
And just have consistent day rate. And like if it goes above a certain time, you add in time or whatever. If you upgrade your gear, you can up that day rate or whatever. Some people suggest doing hourly. Some people suggest doing per edited minute. There's all these different models. I personally haven't found the perfect model for myself yet. So that's why I still kind of charge on a per project basis. A person comes in. First thing I do is I like interview them. I hear them out. I want to know exactly their vision, because sometimes they might come to me and they think they need a commercial.
Yeah.
When in reality, they just need a set of Instagram reels or whatever. They want to increase exposure. And some people think they need like social media reels, but they just need a nice high quality branded video or, a commercial or overview or a presentation video. So you always want to hear out your client. You want to hear what they have to say. And then based on that, you sit down, you crunch some numbers together. Definitely always price higher. Like as in like a good example, we did a project recently and we kind of ballparked a lot of numbers, but we ballparked middle to low of what we think we would spend. But every single production I've done so far, we would always end up spending more. And that sometimes we'd have to pay out of our own pocket just to, make it nicer. So always, if you have a crew on your team and you have a budget for catering, make sure you output an extra 100 or whatever, like make sure if you have gear rentals and you're planning to rent this kind of gear, make sure to output it a little bit, because there's always these unexpected purchases, unexpected things that come up, and you end up, paying out of your own pocket, and then you end up highly underpricing yourself and only getting like a little portion of what, the actual budget. So that's one thing, is me still learning how to price myself right. Know the kind of value I'm providing for the clients and price based on that, rather than price on what I can receive. I'm okay with receiving $200 for this, or I'm okay with receiving $300-$400, but know the kind of value you're providing your client and price it based off of that.
What's the hardest lesson that you say you've learned in being a creative so far, in creating?
The hardest thing that I think I'm still learning it is not to take negative feedback personally, because as creatives, we like it's two sides. We like to like pour out our soul into things, into our projects. You do a video and you're literally like, you feel like you're taking care of a baby. You're feeding your baby or whatever. You're nurturing it. You're growing it. you spend hours, you skip lunches, you need to get it done, you're locked in, and then you hit render, and then you show it to your client or you to your superior. And that's also an important thing for those who run creative teams to understand, like how to be very delicate in the way you're giving feedback, to where you still have to be super brutal honest. If you don't like it, if you think it's completely bad or it's completely off from the vision that was given, but you also have to understand they're creative people who pour their souls and heart into projects. And if you just cut them off, they're either gonna like not have any desire to continue being creative, and they're gonna constantly need for you to tell them what to do, or B, they'll just burn out, go find another profession, worst case. But so being very delicate. But from a creative side, I also want to learn to not take it as personal, as in like still pour my heart and soul into it, but understand that just because I think it's good or just because I think it's a great job, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to see it this way. People have different opinions, people have different viewpoints, they have different upbringings, whatever, you name it.
Yeah.
And so be okay with that. And also don't take things too close to heart. Like just because they say this sucks, the next person will say this is amazing, this is the best thing you've done. And if you know yourself, you put your 100%, you put your heart and soul into it, be happy about it. Next time you're going to improve and you're going to make it even better. Don't get discouraged. So that's the lesson I'm telling to myself, is not to be discouraged about negative feedback, not take it too close to heart, and just keep creating and keep moving forward.
It's a good lesson to learn. With that, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I guess manage your expectations. Definitely a big one. I don't know if it's like best, but that one is just like, especially with everything we talked about, managing your expectations. What I mean by that is that a big reason for why a lot of burnouts happen, a big reason for why backsliding happen, if you're a Christian or whatever, a big reason for apathy and depression in your life is, I would say, people are not managing their expectations. So I used to fall for this a lot. Whenever I would expect something and I would place a high expectation of something, and this event didn't happen or didn't live up to my expectation, or this project didn't happen, or this person didn't, pull through how I expected them to, I tend to get discouraged in people. I tend to get discouraged in myself. I tend to get discouraged in, things that I had high hopes for. And this kind of makes me defeated inside. And that it prevents me from moving forward. I end up like stagnating in my creativity, in my spiritual life, in my personal life. So definitely manage your expectations. And I highly recommend, like, I'm not saying like don't have faith, because as Christians we are called to have faith, and we need to have huge faith, faith big enough to move mountains. But definitely manage your expectations, and be realistic about your expectations. If you hear something from God, hold on to it, because I know He's gonna come, and it's gonna come to pass for sure. But when it comes to people, definitely manage your expectations, because people are flawed. You can 100% have faith in God and hope for, and He's gonna come through, because He's always faithful and He's a promise keeper. But people are flawed. So, if you don't want to be disappointed in people, if you don't want to be discouraged in people, in yourself, and have that stagnate your progress in life, I would say lower your expectations. Or sometimes, to say don't expect anything at all is also bad, because that's kind of like how we build our relationship.
Yeah.
I have a friendship with you. I have certain amount of expectations from our friendship. So you still have to have that. But, I'm not expecting you to, once you get rich, buy me a house. Like, you have to manage your expectations, and in order not to be disappointed and discouraged, and then be like, oh, I don't want Mark as a friend anymore. He never bought me that house. Like, it's not what I'm expecting from you, type of deal. Like, it's cool. We're friends. We're here for each other, but I'm managing my expectations.
I hope one day I can buy that house.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. Well, let's wrap it up, Ilyosha. What is your favorite film and why?
That's a very loaded question because I have.
I need one. Your favorite of all time. One that you can watch for eternity. You can watch it every day and you will never get enough of it.
Man, that's not fair. There's a lot. When it comes to film, because I know there's a TV show. I have an answer for a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
For a film, it's probably either Gladiator or Shawshank Redemption. Probably Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Great storyline all around. It has its moments of comedy. It has its moments of drama and sadness. It has its moments of... I think it goes through kind of like all the phases of human soul in a way.
Yeah.
Just how much they packed in this film. And the story was delivered excellently. I mean, cinematography at that time, I will say it's very excellent. Great actors. I mean, Morgan Freeman, legend. And I would say, yeah, all around probably Shawshank Redemption.
What was that TV show you're talking about?
Chernobyl.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think I watched it 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And I would, if I had the strength right now and the ability, I would probably turn it on and watch it right after this podcast as well. Just, I think it mainly because it kind of hits home to a passion project I had in my mind for a while, which I don't want to mention here because it's... I don't want to give it away too early, but
we'll wait.
that's one thing. Secondly is, I mean, I was born in Russia, which was former Soviet Union, so all of these themes hit close. But aside from that, just saw such excellent cinematography, use of color grading, actors. They're not really known actors, but they just all acted so authentically and genuinely. Like, as a Russian, I can say that they acted authentically Russian. And that Soviet, all the stories I heard from my parents, my grandparents about the Soviet Union, like, is exactly the way I pictured it in my head. That's how they delivered it. Production design, set design. A lot of people actually say, I mean, a lot of people don't or underestimate the power of good production design in a film. Because I know, like, when it comes to cinematic productions, a lot of people, think lenses, cameras, and motion, and dollies and cranes and stuff like that. To me, one of the biggest things, well, aside from lighting, is production design. And how you design a room, how you design clothing, how you design just the environment overall, it speaks volumes. So you can film on an iPhone in a good production set, and it will look like, an Arri Alexa.
Yeah.
If you design it that well. So definitely, I think it covers everything in terms of quality and production and acting and storytelling. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Josh. It's been an honor, a blessing having you on here.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, for sure.